Hi, Brianna here, and I'm going to start super cheery and super lovey because what's been coming through today has been so gnarly. First of all, I just want to start with a centering, just breathing nice and deep into the belly. I invite all of you to be here with me, just closing our eyes for a moment and breathing into the belly and calling spirit, calling the light into this conversation, because the last few times that I've posted spirit, it's just been taken in these ways. Sometimes people respond really well and sometimes they don't, and I'm learning how to share my message, share the message that you've given me, share it unabashedly, and to also share it with hope. So I am here today to talk about a very challenging subject while also bringing forward hope, while also bringing forward love. So I just call in the light of spirit, I call in the light of love for all of us in this conversation, because it is a big conversation that we need to have, and I'm going to continue having with all of my heart, my mind, my soul, and my body. Thank you, Spirit, for this opportunity for us to connect on this crazy medium of live Facebook Live and how we get to connect with each other all over the world. I love all of you. I love you, Spirit. I love my life. I'm grateful. Thank you. May this conversation touch and heal me, touch and heal everyone who's watching, all of our friends, our family, and the people who get to receive our soul gifts. And may it radiate out and touch the heart of every living being on this planet and beyond without exceptions. May it be so, and so it is. Aho. I'm here to talk to you today about a very interesting subject, and I'm going to bring forth spirituality into the conversation around sexual assault and the conversation around when rape isn't rape, but it's still rape. And this is not easy to do. This isn't easy to do for many reasons. Number one, it's very personal. This has happened to me and continues to happen to sisters. I just had a deep conversation with a sister this morning about another situation where rape wasn't rape, but it was rape. And I'm tired of these conversations, but I'm going to keep having them because I know as women and as men who have been victims, and others who've been victims of perpetrators, we need to come forward and to be able to have a place where we can have an honest, true, real conversation around sexuality and our sexual expression. We live in a culture where the programming goes as such: authority, man, woman, child. So whether you were raised religious, we live in a Judeo-Christian culture. That means Judeo-Christianity has influenced the programming of what it is that we've created as our norms. And so therefore, as women, we are taught that we have authority and man above us. So we're already going into a context of not believing, of not knowing our own power. We already look at our systems of order as though we're lower than. It's really important to understand the programming. Now, I want to be super clear with all you ladies, all you men, and all you others out there. We are not looking to blame the system. We are not blaming patriarchy. We are not blaming our government. We're not blaming Judaism. We're not blaming Christianity. What we're doing is we're identifying the programming so that we can take responsibility for it. My beloved right here is in the background. He's supporting with his sweetness. This is really important for us to know so that we no longer have this idea that we have done this to ourselves or that we're alone. It is a systemic issue that we need to address from the systems and the personal level. This isn't about blaming anyone. This is about knowing the programming so that we as individuals and that we as a tribe can come together to really have the conversation around what it is that we've set up so that women are saying yes to rape, that women are actually being consensual to a scenario that doesn't feel good to them. It's because the programming that has been put into our minds and our bodies. We as women have been taught to say yes when we want to say no. Every time my father told me that the answer was because he was my father and for no other reason, he was programming into me that it is okay, that it is important for me to go along with something even when my mind, body, and heart feel like it's a no. It is vital for us as women and men and others to teach our young children that their bodies and their intuitions are important, that their no is important. This programming that we're working with has to do with our government structures. We've never had a female president in this country. I don't care how forward-thinking you think the United States is. The fact that we have never had a female president in our position of ruling is part of the programming that's going on in our mind that has us say yes to sexual and other situations that we would otherwise say no in. We do not have a strong representation of a feminine power in this country. We do not. We do not. And it is important for us as women to step forward and start identifying and naming this programming. I am no longer okay living in a country where the majority of the people who are ruling and making decisions are men. White, older men. And my father is a white, older man. I'm dating a white man. I have nothing against white men. Those who have done their work and opened their heart, there's a lot of programming there. There's nothing against anyone. It's important to know that the structures that are at hand are continuing to perpetuate the current paradigm of keeping women oppressed and keeping them saying yes to situations when they want to say no. So it's important to first talk about the programming as it comes into our government, as it comes into our religion, and specifically as it was at a time in history that I talk about quite a bit, which is colonization. And it's really vital that we know some of our human history. If you're interested in learning anything about what has happened around programming as it relates to human history, there are 2 books I deeply recommend for you. And if you have any other recommendations, I highly suggest you put them here. Number 1 is People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. It will help you open your eyes to understand the historical context that we're working in and what has happened since 1492 in this country specifically of the United States of America. And the second book that I highly recommend to understand more how colonization has helped shape the gender, the race, and the social economic disparity in this country, in this hemisphere, and in the world is The Open Veins of Latin America by Mario Vargas Llosa. These are 2 books that I've utilized in my teaching. I used to teach abroad. I taught at a collegiate level in other countries, and these were 2 books that help people come to terms, help to understand the colonial paradigm that we're still living in today. That's number 1. Number 2, what I wanted to talk about with women was male healers. Not that there aren't amazing male healers out there, but 3 times, 3 different scenarios, I have stories of male healers getting me on their massage table and inappropriately touching me without my consent. I will not name names here. 3 different healers in 3 different cities. 1 was in Nevada City, California, and 2 were in Los Angeles, Venice, California. And these men were older than me. 2 were very attractive, 1 not so much. And they used techniques of manipulation, of domination, and utilizing the spiritual language to justify what it is that they were doing. And I name this because I know that there are women out there who've experienced these same healers as I have. And because I didn't come forward with my story, I know that more women went to see them. And I'm in the prayer, I'm in the deep prayer and the deliberation of what we can do as women who've been victims in these scenarios of how to get our story forward, of how to really start saying, hey, this man is not okay. He put his fingers inside of my vagina when he told me he was going to be doing an aura clearing. And that's not what I agreed to. He actually didn't let me leave until I took my clothes off. He told me that my healing would not be complete if I did not take my clothes off. I was 22 years old. Just coming out of deep plant medicine work, just coming out of deep Gestalt work, just coming out of a deep NLP weekend. I was young. And I want to say this to my younger sisters, and I want to say this to all the women who are out there. Do not go to a male healer if you do not trust him with your life. Women, we are not as physically capable as men, and our programming has taught us to not know how to say no. Unless you've gone through a de-victimization and a deprogramming of how to actually say no in your life, do not expose yourself to male healers anymore. This is what I'm saying. And I know a lot of male healers out there are going to be like, all up in arms. Then get on our side, brothers. Step forward. Help us. Claim your space. Say you will never touch a woman inappropriately again. You want us to come to you? Write a contract. Put it on your Facebook page. Say that you're committed to never touching a woman inappropriately, and you will go after any brother who does it. That's the only way that I will come to a male healer, if he's dedicated to putting that on his Facebook page, on his web page. And you brothers know who I'm talking to. Male healers, quote unquote. I don't care what Reiki level you have. You're not allowed to touch me. You're not allowed to touch my sisters unless you ask and she says yes. I want to talk about sex for a moment too. Just because she's kissing you back and taking off your clothes, men, it is your responsibility to stop the action and ask, am I allowed to? That is the definition of consent. If you've asked for permission and she says yes, that is the definition of consent. I'm going to say it again. The definition of consent is if you've asked and she said yes. Anything less than that is not consent. There is only one person in my life that has ever asked me if he could have sex with me, and that is my beloved. And I didn't even know that was possible until he showed me. It took a man to show me what consent was. We are not taught in our education systems. We are not taught in our religious systems. We are not taught in our government systems. We're not even taught in our spiritual communities what the fuck consent even is. Ladies, if he does not ask your permission and you do not say yes, it is not consent. Done. How many times have you had non-consensual sex in your life? Because we know that men are not teaching themselves how to read the energies in the subtle way. If you're not wanting it and you're not directly saying no, they're not going to pay attention to your inside energy. Do you know how many times I've had sex while screaming no on the inside? Most of the sex that I've had in my life has been when I'm screaming no on the inside. Ladies, I know this is true for you too, because we've been taught that if we're quiet and we just let them have what they want, it's actually over easier. I remember arguing with a male teacher who told me, if you keep arguing with me, you're just going to make this harder on yourself. How many times my father told me, every time you back talk to me, you're just making this take longer. How many times have I had male teachers tell me that my argument with them was actually what was making it more difficult? How many times have we been programmed to not fight back? To not say no. Many, many, many times. Thank you to the male healers who are not going to violate women. I ask that you write a document and put it on your website. I ask that you write a document and put it on your Facebook page. I am a male healer. I am committed to protecting women and children. I am here to make sure that there are other brothers who are not hurting women. And I'm completely clear that there are women who are violators, that there are women who are perpetrators. However, most of the time the perpetrators are men and most of the victims are women. So I don't want to put all men in one category and all women in one category. And if you missed the beginning, I want to let all of you know that this is all shared in deep, deep love. This is all shared with the light of spirit. This is all shared coming through me with the holy fury that I have never felt in my life before. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm taking responsibility for the fact that I have to de-victimize myself and learn how to say no. Ladies, let's walk around with big open hearts and even bigger fucking boundaries. If you want to have a big open heart, you want to open your heart chakra, open your first chakra first. Your rooting, your boundaries, your ability to say no, get the fuck off me. If you don't know how to say no, get the fuck off me, don't go to a healer. Don't go to a medicine man. Don't travel to Peru. Don't go to India. Unless you as a woman have de-victimized yourself and worked through the process where you can look in the mirror and scream, get the fuck off me, no. Do not expose yourself to a scenario where you're going to have to say yes to something that you're actually screaming on the inside saying no. Ladies, it's time for us to take responsibility for what it is that we're exposing ourselves to, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, and sexually. That is our responsibility, understanding that we live in a paradigm that has programmed us to go along with whatever the man says. So we have to work with that programming to deprogram ourselves and de-victimize ourselves from this scenario. It is our responsibility, but we're calling in your help, brothers. We need your help. We need you to post on your website. We need you to post on your Facebook page. I am no longer a part of the problem of men treating women like sexual objects. I will no longer be someone who allows a woman to scream no on the inside. I promise to ask for sex, for money, for a situation where she has to say yes. I will make sure to get consent. I will make sure she says yes before I advance in my healing work, before I advance in any sexual movement. I will ask her, may I kiss you? Or may I give you a massage? Or this is going to an erotic zone. Is this something that you want? If she does not say yes, it is not consent. If she does not say yes, it is not consent. Not saying anything is a no. There's your definition, boys. If she says nothing, the answer is no. Ladies, spread the word. Men, spread the word. Brothers, if you want to be an ally in this, spread the word. Consent means you ask and she says yes. That's it. No more gray zone. No more gray zone on what is rape that actually isn't rape, that actually is rape. That's the conversation here. That's how ridiculous this conversation has gotten, because we haven't been taught how to ask each other permission. It's time. It's time with the light of love and the light of spirit. You have an open heart. You have an open crown chakra. Fan-fucking-tastic. It means nothing if you don't know how to say no. It means nothing if you continue allowing yourself to be violated by others around you, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, or sexually. If you are allowing yourself to be violated by not allowing yourself to learn how to say no, you are perpetuating the problem. That's a big thing for me to say, because I've been on the side of victim many times. And I reveled in it, pointing at them as the perpetrators. It is now our responsibility to step forward and learn how to say no. Truly. Suasona, you are welcome. Oh, you're the brother who said that you support women. Fantastic. Paste your Facebook page here that has your commitment on it, and I'll actually say thank you to you. I want to see it in black and white writing. I don't care what you say on Facebook. I don't care what pages you like. I don't care what you like. Brothers, unless it's in black and white on your Facebook page, I declare that I will only work with women upon consent, which means I ask permission and they say yes. I, as a brother, am committed to defending women and children from sexual, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and financial manipulation from other brothers. Until you have that written on your website, I'm not saying thank you to you. Congratulations, you can make a little comment here on my video, thank you, and post it on your website. Post it on your website, brothers. I want to see it on your Facebook pages. I want to see in black and white that you support me, that you support your sisters, that you support your mothers, that you support your lovers. I do not know one woman in this country who has not been sexually assaulted by a man. I do not know one woman in the United States who has not been sexually assaulted by a man. If that doesn't worry you, brothers, then you Facebook message me, because we need to have a deeper conversation. I know plenty of brothers who've never been sexually assaulted. I do not know one woman in the United States of America who has not been sexually assaulted by a man. Done. The other piece that I wanted to talk about was women in scenarios where you've been on substances. I'm going to use the name Bob as the name for the man in my scenario. I went to Bob's birthday. I ingested psilocybin mushrooms. He ended up on top of me. I said no. He continued to have sex with me, and I told no one about it because I was on substances. I want to let you know legally, you're allowed to go to the police. I also want to let you know socially, no one shames you. There is no shame in saying yes to having an experience with substances, then being sexually violated, where someone took advantage of your less than conscious state. That is not okay, and it's time for you to come forward, because these things are going to keep happening. The more silence we tell ourselves. This is the other thing about our programming. Not only are we programmed to not say no, we're also programmed to not talk to anyone about it. Sedona Galeras, I don't go to someone to heal someone, I do remote healing. I don't care if you do remote healing, I don't care if you do intergalactic healing, unless you brothers have written in black and white that you're committed to not violating women and children anymore, I don't take you seriously. That's it. I've heard too many brothers talk. I've heard too many powerful men promise things that they never live up to. We're talking about 3 men right now in the Encinitas area who've all done horrendous things, who've told us so many words of how they're going to change, and they continue doing it until it's written in black and white, and until you have a full-on committee that's there, that you're not going to do the same action again. I don't want to hear anything. And for brothers who've never violated anyone and you're in the healing world, get on your website right now, a page, a button that says, "My commitment to women, children, and all. I promise to never violate financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, sexually. I promise, as a male, as the dominant force for the predatory culture, I promise to be a part of the resolution." Until you have that, it does not count. Doesn't count, brothers. Thank you. The power of no. Ladies, I want to return to this. Start practicing your no's. Do not become a healer, a coach, a meditation teacher, a yoga instructor, until you have developed your first chakra, rooting the power of your root, and your third chakra, the power of will, I am, your ability to say yes and no, dependent on your alignment. Yes in one moment could be could be no in the next second. And knowing how to really in-tune yourself. If you want to step forward as a spiritual leader, you need to know how to say, fuck no. Ladies, if you are currently being violated by anyone in your community and you consider yourself a spiritual leader, I would take a big step back. You allowing perpetrators into your field continues the problem. If you as a woman know of a perpetrator and you're doing nothing about it, you are contributing to the problem. And I say this to myself as much as I say this to you. This is not okay, and there is something that we as women can do about it. The power of your no is potent. Practice it every day. My encouragement from women here till the end of this, until we have the true resolution where sexual assault is not something that every woman has experienced in this country, you need to have the meditation of no. Every morning, wake up, look in the mirror, look in your eyes, and powerfully say, no. No. Get the fuck away from me. I don't feel comfortable with you this close to me. You're not allowed in my field. Thank you for that, but no thank you. Walk the fuck away. No! Until you can say, no, you are not a spiritual leader. Ladies. Until you're only having the kind of sex that you want, you're not a spiritual leader. That's it. If you're still having random sex in order to take care of your worthiness problems, you're not a spiritual leader. You are perpetuating the problem. And I'm speaking to myself. What is the resolution? What do we do here? The resolution is a term that my beloved and I have come up with, my beloved Bearheart, who's so wonderfully sitting here as I express myself in this way. The resolution is the knowing that we can eliminate sexual trauma from our lives, that we can eliminate violence. It takes 3 generations. It takes 3 generations, because that's where the stories are told. Grandmother to child to child. 3 generations. So let's heal ourselves with our parents, and then heal what we're creating so that when we hand it off to our children, it's not so much trauma in our DNA. 3 generations, the resolution. And it starts with you today. It starts with you saying no. When it does not feel aligned, and it starts with little things. Oh, would you like mustard with that? Feel it. No, I would not like mustard with that. Would you like my fingers up your vagina during our aura clearing? No, I would not like that. Or if someone begins to do something in your field that doesn't feel aligned, hey, you know what? That actually makes me feel uncomfortable. You coming that close to me actually makes me feel violated. Hey, you coming in my direction doesn't feel good. Please step back. The power of no. Ladies, if you want to be a spiritual leader, the first thing you need to master is the power of no. What's his face wrote the power of no? I'm going to write the power of no. If anyone would like to support me, you can send me some PayPal love. Okay? The power of no. And I think that's what I'm going to leave you with, is we as women do not claim that all of us are all the victims. We understand that there are victims of all genders, spectrum. We do not blame men. We do not blame the system. However, we acknowledge that the majority of perpetrators, programmed to be so, are the men. We also acknowledge that our system at hand puts authority, man, woman, and then child in that order. So we have been programmed to listen to the man, to listen to authority. We acknowledge the programming context we're in, and we're taking a step forward to de-victimize and deprogram ourselves. And it starts with the power of a holy, fury, righteous no. Practice no today, ladies. Let me know how it goes for you. Please share this video if you feel moved. Don't share it if you don't. Lots of love. All of this is from the light of spirit, direct from my heart. All chakras activated, crown to root. I don't listen to nobody who only comes from their crown or their heart. That's bullshit. Unless you have the will, the second chakra of creativity, and your deep root planted into the earth, I ain't got nothing to do with you. Light to all, love to all, peace to all. Looking forward to hearing from you. Mwah. Lots of love.